Nighttime descends over Japan. But something's odd about this neighborhood. It's actually a miniature theme park, which opened in 2020. Behold, Small Worlds Tokyo, one of the largest indoor miniature theme parks on planet Earth. It's very much like our world, just at 1/80th the scale, and with lots of teeny tiny figures standing in for us giant humans. But what really sells everything is the motion. These are miniatures that move. Minute gimmicks are scattered throughout the park, inviting visitors into this pint-sized world. A famous series loved around the world comes to life. This is the world of Evangelion, a global pop culture phenomenon. Cutting-edge technology is responsible for the incredible display seen here. When an obstacle appears in front of these cars, they're able to stop before they run into it. Hidden inside them is an automated driving system. When the stoplight turns red, the cars stop. Green means go. They even signal when making turns.
I
think there's plenty of things related to Japanese technology, Japanese culture.
The world is enraptured with Japanese miniatures. They may be small, but they're packed with staggering technique and emotion. Let's take a look. Here's a common sight in any city, a convenience store. Nothing out of the ordinary for locals, but visitors from abroad are often surprised by what they find on the shelves. There's more than just food here. Everyday essentials are on sale too. Particularly big sellers are bento lunches, onigiri rice balls, and sandwiches, classic convenience store fare. One miniature craft artist found inspiration in these hollowed store displays, Azuma Kyoko. Her fondness for these bastions of convenience led her to create an entire store in miniature. The shelves are full of the old standbys, onigiri rice balls, pasta, and bento lunches. Each item is carefully packaged, just like the real deal. This is your standard onigiri, wrapped in dried seaweed. Here's an onigiri that Azuma crafted. She even replicated the easy open seal.
Package もともとコンビニが好きで結構ヘビーユーザーというか、そのパッケージされてる商品とかそういうのにもともとすごく興味があるというか。
Azuma's adoration remains unabated. Today, she's crafting a cheese hamburger steak bento. First things first, the steak itself. The main material used is polymer clay. After crafting the core shape, she brings out a toothbrush to replicate the bumpy texture of the meat. Painting brings out sear marks and a deceptively juicy looking appearance. Finished items get packed into the bento box. She's even created individual grains of rice. Each grain is less than 1 millimeter in size, but nonetheless replicates the oval shape of real rice. The potato salad ball, simmered burdock root, and hamburger steak with cheese on top. The final step will be adding the tomato sauce. Azuma takes special care to create everything from scratch, including the onions. She starts by crafting large pieces of onion out of polymer clay. For further detail, she cuts it into long strips. After a final delicate dicing, the onions are ready.
本当にある玉ねぎのなんかこのリアルな曲線っていうのをどうしても出したくて、みじん切りにしちゃうと分かんないかなって思うんですけど、その曲線のある状態から作った方がみじん切りにした状態でもちゃんと若干曲がったりしてるので、リアルさが全然違って見えますね。
After using paint to create the tomato sauce, she mixes in the onions. Once they start to look nice and soupy, it's on to the steak they go. Everything's in its place. Pop on the cover, and all that's left is to slip on the plastic label ring. A hamburger steak bento smaller than 2 centimeters. Time to completion, over 50 hours.
どうせ見えないじゃんって思うんですけど、でもやっぱりその見えない部分も裏側とか全部きっちり作った方がリアリティが増すので、そういうこだわりは日本人の方の特徴かなと思います。
The Japanese search for detail and precision had already begun some 1,300 years ago. Okinoshima Island is located in Fukuoka Prefecture, 900 kilometers southwest of Tokyo. It was here that an ancient relic was discovered. This kimono weaving machine is made in miniature. Created around the 8th century and made from gilded bronze, it's 48 centimeters long and 17 centimeters wide, less than 1/10 the size of an actual machine. It's crafted with enough precision to weave actual cloth. But why would anyone think to create such a piece?
何らかの祭祀用具、儀式のようなところで使われたものではないかと考えられています。すでに小さなものというものに美しさ、一つの美意識、美ですね。美を見出すという文化があって、だからこそその特別なものを小さく作ってそれを神様に奉納するという、そういう気持ちだったんだろうと思います。
Though originally created as special offerings to the gods, miniatures became objects of popular appreciation during the 17th century. A book from the period depicts a celebration wishing the healthy growth of girls. Small dolls are visible in the scene. Japan has long cherished a custom of displaying dolls, which continues to the present day. The elaborate furnishings made for the dolls were the subject of friendly competition among craftsmen. Few pieces are more extravagant than these ones with gold and silver dustings. They show just the extent to which Japan refined its miniature artistry. Vienna, the capital of Austria. It was here that roughly 150 years ago, Japan's flourishing explorations into miniature artistry made their way to Europe. At the Vienna International Exhibition of 1873, Japanese miniatures were put on display for all to see. This is a small version of a traditional Japanese house. It was created to showcase Japanese miniature techniques to the world at large. Sadly, the house was forgotten in a museum storeroom following the exhibition. It was left in a state not fit to live in. Thankfully, a museum in Vienna started a project to restore the house to perfect condition. Assisting the project is Barna Gergely Péter, a Hungarian researcher of traditional Japanese architecture. He visited Vienna on countless occasions to provide advice and architectural reference.
"やっぱり一番すごいというのはその詳細のディテールのメリハリっていうので、だから本当にこの模型を見ると想像しなくていいぐらいのそこでいるような感じになりますね。
This footage was taken inside the house. It's nearly indistinguishable from an actual abandoned estate. Every detail speaks to the level of craftsmanship that went into the house's creation. Even the tatami mats are made out of finely woven rush. It made quite the sensation at the exposition at the time. Restoration of the house was completed in 2017. It went on display at the Museum of Ethnology, Vienna, where it continues to amaze, just as it did over a century ago. Japanese miniatures are about more than just detail. Here in Osaka, the largest city in Western Japan, we're visiting a miniature exhibition with a quirky twist. A hole punch, with a number of pizza chefs crafting a legion of pies. The small paper circles from the hole punch provide all the dough a kitchen could ask for. Here's an everyday scene from a waiting room with one small difference. It's not chairs they're sitting on, but binder clips. What do we have here? A pile of hair clips laid out in a row. But it turns out we've stumbled upon ancient dinosaur fossils.
日常で何気なく見てるものとかがなんか見方によってこんなに世界が見方が違うんだと思って愛着が湧きます。
シャレのあるところですかね。クスッとこう行くところが楽しいなと思っています。
Tanaka Tatsuya is the creator who brought these worlds to life. His imaginative take on miniatures has received worldwide acclaim. He started making daily posts on Instagram in 2011 and hasn't missed a day since. He's amassed over 2.5 million followers, with 70% of them located outside Japan.
特徴はやっぱり見立てですね。普段見ているもの、例えばブロッコリーはみんなは食べ物として認識しているじゃないですか。でそれを、僕の作品の中では例えばそれを木として表現したりとか、だからみんなが普段見ているものを違うみんなが知っている何かに変えるというのが、見立てという表現。
Tanaka's works are distinguished by his use of mitate. It's a technique that has been passed down over the generations. A folding fan, perfect for cooling off when it's hot, and an essential tool in the traditional Japanese storytelling art known as rakugo. Take a noodle eating scene. The fan stands in for chopsticks. Mitate appears in traditional architecture as well. In a Japanese garden, the gravel is laid out as to evoke flowing waters. The rocks are mitate for islands, inspiring the imagination. They thereby draw a connection to places far removed from the garden. We asked Tanaka to create a miniature for this show to better explore the concept of mitate. The theme that was decided upon is Explore Japan. His first destination is a retailer that specializes in cookware and utensils. The possibilities for mitate here are limitless.
なんも面白いですよね。なんか使えそうな気がしますよね。なんか使えそうっていう競技場とかね。お、てかめっちゃペンギンがいますペンギンがそう完全にほら南極ですよ。そうだペンギンだから。
These are the 135 items he purchased today. But what does he plan to have them stand in for? We visit Tanaka's studio. The shelves are decorated with figures gathered from across the world of every size and shape, more than 50,000 in total. From within this menagerie, Tanaka chooses the figures that will best assist him in making mitate. In a corner of the room, Tanaka gets straight to work. The subject he's chosen is this woman in a red kimono.
女の人がなんか旅をしているというここに見に来た感じですかね。だから旅とするのか、この人は一回じゃあ都会に行って都会から自分の田舎の村に帰ってきた風景と見るのかとかは人それぞれでねいいのかなと思って。
After 4 hours in the studio, the miniature is complete. Tanaka has created a 19th century Japanese countryside. This is the world the lone woman has set out to in her travels. A ramen bowl stands in for the majesty of Mount Fuji, illuminated by the light of the rising sun. A stack of soup lids forms a 5-story pagoda in the heart of the village. A serving tray for soba noodles, meanwhile, stands in for a rice field with farmers working the day away.
日本にはいろんな日本らしい風景今も残っていて、 もしだからせっかく日本に来るんだったらその東京とか都会ばっかりじゃなくてせっかくだったら日本らしい風景を求めてこう田舎の方に行ってみるとかねなんかそういうふうに、まあ、ちょっと、まさしくこう探検してほしいというか。
There's no one single way to enjoy miniatures. Muto Mineo owns a work that she cherishes for a special reason. Muto was the third-generation president of the material supplier founded by her grandfather.
これがこういう建物だったんですけど。
It's a miniature version of the store Muto used to run. Who could ignore that blue awning? It looked exactly the same as the actual store. This is the sales counter for materials at the store. The scale was used to calculate prices. And there it is, in the miniature version too.
一番奥で経理事務の方をずっとやってきました。金庫番として。
Through the art of miniature, Muto's entire workplace has been lovingly recreated. She worked here day after day, the pressure of inheriting the family business resting on her shoulders. In the end, however, she decided to close up shop and had the building torn down so that her children would be free to live however they pleased. She asked an artist to create a small replica of the office.
もう少しお掃除しとけばよかったとか、本当にこのまんまだから。
What Muto wanted to preserve above all else wasn't the office on the first floor, but this room on the second.
ここに上がった時は仕事のことは考えてることはあったかもしれないけど、なんかそういうことから離れたいと思ったんじゃないかなと思います。
By having her business recreated in miniature, Muto was able to step back, take stock of her life, and reflect.
やっぱりこれほど重たいものはなかったかなって、でも楽しいこともたくさんあったし、だから残しておきたいと思ったんだと思います。
Next, we visit a suburban district of Tokyo. It's the workshop of the craftsman who built Muto's miniature. His name is Kawaii Yukio. Kawaii makes miniatures on request while running a pressing plant that manufactures car parts and other goods. To get the mini version of Muto's shop just right, he visited in person, took photos, and asked questions about her upbringing and memories of the building. All told, it took Kawaii a year to finish crafting it.
武藤さんの責任とかね、そういうものをすごく感じて、なんか人事ではないような、あれはそういう気持ちはありましたね。
Kawaii isn't doing this alone. He has his family helping him. Furniture and accessories are handled by his wife, Tomoko. His daughter, Asami, creates realistic food.
それは面白い。
The three of them talk things over as they take the client's impressions into account. Together, they've made 22 miniature settings thus far, all overflowing with the memories of their clients. This time, it's a restaurant's kitchen, as seen in these photographs. The client is a cooking class instructor who used this kitchen to teach lessons from. Wanting to always have his beloved kitchen close at hand, he came to Kawaii to have it recreated as a miniature.
こちらになるんですけども、
With the client's permission, Kawaii will create another copy of the miniature for safekeeping. To him, this kitchen is one of his definitive works.
実際にですね、自分がこの厨房の中に立ってですね、料理をしているイメージとか感じるようなものになっていれば嬉しいと思います。
The dishes piled up in the sink still have their stains. The water from the faucet yet flows. And if you open up the refrigerator, it's fully stocked. What Kawaii values most is the essences of the people who lived and worked in the places they held dear.
お客様がここを残したいという熱意とかありますよね。それ以上にこちらが熱意を持たないといけない。もう終わった時が一番嬉しいですよね。お渡しした時が。で、それで喜んでいただければ、それで完成ということになると思います。
Miniatures may be tiny, but every detail is a labor of love. These microcosms hold an innocent appreciation of the everyday shared by Japanese people everywhere. They've been surprising the world for centuries, and that's no small feat.